Physics, the natural science that involves the study of matter and its motion through space and time, along with related concepts such as energy and force. With such difficult concepts, calculations, and ideas, it's no wonder students have such a difficult time achieving good results in exam conditions. Furthermore, many students are unable to reach their potential in physics only because they do not adequately address the extended response questions. The DOC method is a strategy that will help you break down an extended response question and ensure you answer it correctly. The DOC method breaks down each question into 3 parts: the directional word, what we frequently refer to as the verb; the content links the questions to a topic you have been studying; and the outline limits the focus of the question. Let's firstly look at the directional words, something you should already be relatively familiar with. The directional word is key to ensuring you are answering the question in the correct way. Every verb has specific criteria that must be adhered to in order to gain all the required marks. A list of the verbs and their meanings can be found in your diary, your physics textbook, or your in-class booklet. Moving on to the content. This is the specific jargon and content that the question refers to. The content will form the groundwork of your response. Lastly, in the DOC method breakdown is the outlining terms. This limits the focus of the question. It is very tempting to write everything that we know about the content we already identified. However, the outline specifies exactly what about the content we need to write about. Ignoring the outlining terms will lead to answers that are not succinct and often not on point. If you identify each of these 3 components of a question, you can set up your answer to ensure it receives every possible mark. Let's take a look at a few example questions and apply the DOC method. Scientists today accept that the universe is expanding. Outline the origin of this idea and the evidence on which this theory is based. Include the work of named scientists in your answer. In this example, taken from a past preliminary final exam, the directional word is clearly outline, so we must sketch in general terms or indicate the main features of. The content is universe is expanding. The crux of our answer will be on an expanding universe. The outline of the question is origin and evidence. Therefore, we must focus the response on these points. The DOC method has broken down the question to inform us that we need to sketch in general terms the origin and evidence for an expanding universe. And don't forget to include named scientists in your answer. Hubble, Friedman. Let's have a look at one more question, this time from the 2004 final exam. Assess the benefits of crumple zones in cars and reduced speed limits in suburban streets in terms of reducing the effects of collisions. The directional word is assess. Therefore, we must make a judgment of quality, outcomes, results, or size. The content is crumple zones in cars and reduced speed limits. The outline in this question can be broken in 2 and is very specific. Firstly, we need to assess the benefits. Students will often neglect this outlining word and go on to assess the crumple zones and speed limits. Secondly, the question specifies that the benefits must be assessed in relation to how the safety devices reduce the effects of collisions. For instance, a response could show how lower speed limits reduce the stopping distance, or how crumple zones absorb the energy in the front or rear of the vehicle. Whilst being true, these examples do not refer to reduction in the effects of the collision and are therefore not addressing the outlining words. A more appropriate response would focus on how crumple zones increase the collision time and in turn reduce the impulse felt by the passengers, or reduced speed limits in turn reduce the momentum of the car before collisions and hence minimizing changes in momentum. This question is a great example of how, without applying the Dock method, a response can very easily not address the question. I strongly encourage you to apply the Dock method to all your extended response questions. Use a pencil, highlighter, or pen to break down each question into its Dock components. Practice the Dock method on past exam papers, and in no time you will be able to utilize this method quickly and effectively.